Good morning to day 248. Thought I'd start it early. It's actually 7:05. Marilyn Downing, you asked what are the beaches like from where I am. So I'm going to attempt to try and get down to the beach. We've got a bit of rubble here, so forgive me. Ugh. Okay. This is our return. Our steps aren't finished yet. I'm sure the steps at some stage onto the beach will be a little bit more subtle than jumping like that. But anyway, let me show you what the beach is like. So, Marilyn, this is what we'll end up having at some stage every day. Once this is all done, the Bobcat's in today, so hopefully this will all be sorted out. The wind here is virtually non-existent, mainly because of the dunes and these beautiful trees. So we really do get protected from the wind and the salt as well. So, I mean, the house itself, we looked at the windows this morning, there's hardly any salt or marks on the doors. And the doors have been in now for a good sort of 8 weeks. But normally this is a very brutal beach. It's called Long Beach. It's famous for kite surfers, a little bit of windsurfing, but mainly kite surfers. Oh, today not a lot of wind at all. Normally come up here and it's really windy. I mean, you'll start hearing the noise now. But the sun comes up directly there. So yesterday me and my daughter sat there, watched that sun come out of the water. It was absolutely stunning. So as you can see, it's quite a brutal part of the sea, so which is why it's so famous for the kite surfers. This individual down here, very, very brave building there. Take my hat off to them, that's for sure. But as you can see, a very wide beach. I think it's one of, if not the longest beach on the island as well, so sorry for the wind noise, but being here at the moment there's hardly any, there's not a lot of wind at all, but as you can see there's people walking down there. Look. Every day there's people exercising, walking up and down, and then you also get quite a lot of fishermen over here, and they also fish around the corner where it's a bit quieter. Sometimes it's a lot windier than here. Sometimes it's like a mill pond. You really can't. 1 minute it's completely calm. Next minute it's like it is now. Yesterday it was worse. It was a lot windier and the waves were a lot choppier. And last night the full moon was absolutely amazing. It lit the whole beach up as well. So, and anyway, let me take you back. You hear the wind obviously, and then as soon as we get over this little dune here, you hear the wind just suddenly stop. So it comes, the wind comes from there. It literally comes, this is like northeast, bordering on northeast. The house itself is literally pretty much dead on east. See, it just dies. As soon as you get to this bit, there's just no wind at all. It's very strange. And we're nestled in this little tiny nest egg, which is right next door to, we're next door to Alan Burke, who's the famous windsurfer. And his son is currently in the Olympics. His son is doing very, very well. We're also, we're not really supposed to touch out here, but we're going to try, and once we've finished in here, we're going to try and just tidy up. I mean, certainly the rubbish, obviously, but we're going to try and get all of this raked out in here, try and make it a lot more pleasant for the locals. Obviously, all the marks that the Bobcat's been making, we're going to smooth all these off as well. We're going to replace the rocks back to here, get rid of this bloody toilet. We had a landscaper out yesterday looking at the grass, as I said. He's given us some good suggestions about what to do in and around here. So we're going to look at getting the Bobcat to scrape all of this out, all this extra they put in, I told not to put in. We're going to get that scraped out later. And we're going to literally start getting this grassed or dealt with first, so it looks more pleasant. This is a well that unfortunately has collapsed. We're meant to be getting it replaced, but there doesn't seem to be any sign so far of anybody doing anything, so I'll make a couple more phone calls this week so we can try and get that sorted. And he also wants to look at getting some more soil into here and then a topsoil on top, and then he wants to look at literally a grass down here, and then we'll eventually rake this down. I need to get the guys to stop their behaviour of just sweeping stuff straight off the patio. So yesterday they were working on doing the edges, so great, it looks so much better now, but all the stuff that fell on the patio, they just swept straight onto here. So I've got to try and have a word with them today about now stopping all of that, jumping down the building, on the side of the building, sweeping crap off. Otherwise, I'm just going to be going over my old footsteps. We've got to get these sorted out. This was drilled through just to make a hole for the water to drain out of here. Got to get that filled back in, got to get that sorted. But also need to put some breather holes in there as well. So that's one thing we've got to do today. This has got to disappear at some stage today because I'm going to get the bobcat in here this morning. We're going to get all of this scraped out in here. Then I want to try and bring as much of the soil from the back over and try and start down here and level down to this footing area here and come around. And that will then give us the line as to how many steps we need to build extra here. I think I'm probably going to bring another 2 or 3 steps just down to the floor here, rather. We were going to be at that height. So, you know, the architect has had it so that we are literally, where that line is pretty much through the building, that's how high he wanted the soil. I'm like, I just don't want to go that high. So, and then I can also get the guys in the paint to come around here as well. But until we've actually painted, this side here hasn't been plastered. So I want to get the tops done and the windows done. And once that's done, then I can come back around here with some more paint. And then we've also got to think about what we're going to do with these as well, because they're a bit ugly. So we need to obviously get that boxed in and plastered. And we need to get that all plastered and painted white as well, so at least it looks more pleasant. These are the steps we've been using, hence the reason why I had to just jump down and nearly break my neck. But anyway, we'll get these up today, and we'll get this all cleared around here. And as you can see, if I take you around the side return, you'll see how low it actually was before we started building. So that's how high we've taken the build, and this is how high it was before we moved in. So as you can see, they've scratch coated here, but they've not finished that, so we're going to have to get that done at some stage as well. Anyway, we are where we are so far, so there's still plenty to do. Gave you a good insight into what the beach actually looks like at this time in the morning. Sun at the moment is coming up about 6:15 in the morning, so it's a lovely sunrise, that's for sure. So maybe I'll get that film for you tomorrow so you can see what it's like if there's no clouds. There has been clouds in the last week, so you don't really see the sun come out of the water, unfortunately. But we'll try it tomorrow and see what it looks like, and I'll check in a bit later on. Okay, so we're at 3 o'clock. Quick update. Okay, what's happened in here? We've had the towel rails connected finally. So plumbers in Barbados doing copper. They don't like it, but she's in. There is a bit of a leak, so there's been a towel put up there to try and soak that up. So again, the good thing about here being towel rails, there's no electricity. In England, obviously, when the heating's not on, you have to turn the electric element on. There's no element needed. And there's no hot water from the heater. So it's all coming from, sorry about that, incoming call. So yeah, it's all fed by solar. So as long as you've got a pump on the system, which they don't normally have, which you've had one fitted, so we've got to wait for it to be connected, the pump will circulate the hot water all the time. He says he's feeling wet. So yeah, what should happen is the pump should take the hot water from upstairs, downstairs, and then just circulate the hot water around all the time to ensure that at any point when you turn on the tap, you're getting some hot water. That's not what happens here. Normally you're waiting sort of 2 to 5 minutes for water to come through, and obviously you're wasting cold water down the drain before you get hot. So we still don't have that system rigged up yet. That's how it's going to be rigged up. There'll be a heater, we call it an immersion heater downstairs, with an element in it, connected to the solar system upstairs. The solar system should feed that system, and as and when the water downstairs is used and it comes down, the hot water from upstairs should feed that tank, and at all times from the immersion heater boiler downstairs, the hot water is going around the system all the time for hot. So as soon as you turn on the tap, it's instant, the boiler should come down, the tank upstairs should feed from upstairs. That's what we're struggling to get set up at the moment, but that's what I need to have, and that's how it should work. But anyway, these will be on that as well. So as and when it circulates around, these will be hot all the time as well. At the moment, they're cold because until you turn on a hot tap, no hot water comes around the system because the pump is not switched on. So as soon as we've got that rigged up and this is switched on, that'll work. We've also got a mains pump coming off of the water tanks. So it's a 2 horsepower pump, and that should push cold water straight into the house and straight into the solar system upstairs. So as soon as the taps are turned on, the water pressure pushing cold water into the boiler upstairs, the container upstairs, the solar system upstairs, should push the hot water down quicker. That's the aim and that's the hope. So anyway, we'll look at that as and when it's ready. Fixer foam has been cut off on all the windows on the outsides, both the front and rear, so I'll show you that in a second. The guys are doing the driveways as speaks, that the rebars bit are taking place. The guys are up on the cottage finishing off the edges and the window frames. The guys have finished painting the front wall now after the mess that took place on that today. The utilities cupboard has had the formwork pot on top, and we're going to be looking at pouring that if not already. The electrical inspectors come out and looked at the circuit and said all good, so obviously got to wait for the certificate to come through. What else? What else? I think that's it. So anyway, let's go out and have a quick look.
Ryan,
Ah!
to check the leak.
Oh, you leak?
The roof.
Ah,
Ryan,
okay.
yeah. Ryan Rough.
Okay, and then in here, what do we got going on? So we have a floor. We've got to make the doorway down as well, so we've got to make a hatch. The electricians need to get their scaffolding out as well. Why is there more water down there again? Jesus, can't stop flooding the place. So we have water downstairs in our water tank area. Not sure why. This window jam's got to be sorted. The back of the house has got to be plastered. That door frame's cracked for some reason. This one's got to be done here. That one has been done as far as I'm aware. The roof is all done. I've just been up there and looked at that. That's all been plastered in and sealed off, which is great. This one's still got to be finished off. We're technically going to be blocking that one up, I think, at this present time. Although we have asked for a price for a window to try and keep the drive coming through. And then the work has been going on out here today. So two things. Number one, the BRC for the floor. And number two, a bit of BRC on top of here because we're going to pour a concrete roof on that. However, we want that at an angle to make sure the rain runs off. So we need to make sure the guys have definitely got a run on it. So it's all boxed up now, so it's ready to be poured after the guys have done the rebar, but I just need to have a quick look to make sure the run is at the right levels. All looks very similar. The guys have actually finished off the wall. The greyness is all down there now. Inside's been done as well. The front wall's been finished off. The mason doing the work wasn't happy about this wall, so he's literally taken that all off again today, which is a pain in the arse, but at least it's now done properly. Again, it was all painted and finished. But anyway, the conduit had to be run in and drilled through, so that's now done. So that's going to be pushed back a bit further to make sure that we can cover and fill. And then the top's already been done, so it's waiting to be painted. Well, filled and painted anyway. Down here is pretty much done as well. We've got to bring the bobcats coming in tomorrow, so we're going to be filling this with more soil. We'll start off with taking the soil out here because this is too high, as I keep on saying. So we're going to take all the soil out here, get that over into this space here, level off, and get the beach sorted and get the back sorted. So the main thing tomorrow for the bobcat is going to be getting out there and removing absolutely everything out there, making that completely flush mud, and then bringing in a topsoil. And then hopefully Saturday we're going to be looking at pouring concrete on here, although we haven't heard from the concrete man yet, so hopefully fingers crossed he's all good for Saturday. As far as I'm aware, we're nearly finished. The guys have obviously been taken off to go into here, but we need to go obviously stretch into here and finish this off. So, you trying to work? You look like a set of golf clubs with those boots on. Anyway, so that's pretty much where we are so far. So obviously the sensors have been put in, electrics have been put in for the lights. That's been done on both sides, but that's got to be plastered in obviously. Other than still some work to be done. And the plumbers obviously attaching the pipe all the way along the wall over there. Look, they're in the corner, as you can see them. Or you can see them in the corner. So anyway, I'll check in a little bit later.